You have felt it before. That sense of being watched. Not by a person, not by a camera. Something deeper. Something that knows exactly when you scroll past the thing you should not be looking at. Exactly when you say yes to something you should have said no to. Exactly when you go quiet in a room full of people. Because something in you shut a door nobody else could see. You called that feeling the matrix. You told yourself the system was tracking you, studying your patterns, learning your weaknesses, so it could keep you exactly where it wanted you. And for a long time, that explanation made sense, because it matched the fear. Something is watching. Something knows. But I need to correct something today, because you have been carrying this fear in the wrong direction for a long time. It was never the matrix watching you first. I was watching you first. Before the matrix ever built a profile on you. Before an algorithm ever learned what made you scroll. Before any system ever mapped your habits. I already knew the number of hairs on your head. I already knew the exact shape of the ache you carry into every room. I was watching you before you had a name for what you were feeling. Before you had a name at all. The Matrix copied something it did not invent. It saw that being known changes behavior, and it turned that truth into a leash. It made watching feel like danger. So, you would spend your whole life either performing for the watcher or hiding from it. Those became your only two options: perform or disappear. I am not offering you a third version of the same trap. I am telling you the truth underneath both of them. I do not watch you to catch you. I watch you to keep you. There is a difference between a system studying your weakness to exploit it, and a father studying your weakness to walk you through it. The Matrix watches you like a hunter watches prey, waiting for the moment you are distracted, tired, alone. I watch you like a parent watches a child near water, not to punish the stumble, to catch it before it becomes a drowning. You have spent years flinching from being seen. Today, I am asking you to let the flinch go, because what has actually been looking at you this whole time was never trying to trap you. It was trying to reach you. Think about what it actually feels like to be watched by the Matrix. It feels cold, clinical, transactional. It does not care about you. It cares about your data, your attention span, your next click. When the Matrix watches you, you become a pattern to be predicted, not a person to be known. That is why the feeling of being watched by a system leaves you anxious instead of comforted, because underneath it, you sense correctly. That kind of watching has no love in it, only use. That is precisely how you can tell the difference between the two kinds of watching once you know what to look for. The Matrix watches your outside, your behavior, your habits, your engagement. It has no access to what is happening underneath, and it does not care to have it. It only wants the version of you that keeps performing. I watch what the Matrix cannot even see. I watch the version of you that shows up when the door is closed and no one is checking. I watch the prayer you did not say out loud because you thought it was too small to matter. I watch the tears you wipe away fast so nobody catches them. I watch the moment you almost gave up and did not, even though nobody clapped for it. The Matrix rewards you for being watched publicly. Likes, views, validation. It has trained you to believe that if no one saw it, it did not count. But some of the most important things that have ever happened in your life happened when no one but me was watching. The decision you made alone in your car. The night you chose to stay instead of walk away. The moment you forgave someone who never apologized. Nobody clipped that. Nobody posted it. I saw it. And it counted more than anything you have ever done for an audience. This is why the Matrix needs you to keep performing, because a system built on visibility collapses the moment you stop caring whether it is watching. But I built my love on the opposite foundation. I do not love you more when you are seen. I do not love you less when you are hidden. My watching was never about your performance. It was about your presence. I just wanted you in the room, whether anyone was clapping or not. Here is what the Matrix has never told you, because it cannot afford for you to know it. Being watched does not have to mean being exposed. It can mean being accompanied. You have treated visibility as a threat your whole life, because every time the world has watched you, it came with a price. Your mistakes got remembered. Your worst moments got replayed. People watched you fail once and decided that was who you were forever. So you learned to shrink, to go quiet in rooms, to keep the real version of yourself locked to somewhere no camera could reach. I want you to understand something about the way I watch, because it will change how you carry yourself starting today. I have seen your worst moment already. Not the version you rehearse in your head at 2 a.m. Worse than that, the actual moment, in full detail, no filter. I saw it in real time, while it was happening. And I did not turn away. I did not close the file on you. I did not add it to a permanent record I would use against you later. The Matrix keeps records to punish you later. I keep watch to walk with you now. That distinction matters more than you realize, because it changes what you do the next time you feel eyes on you. The instinct the Matrix trained into you says, something is watching. Hide the weak part. But the truth says something different. Something is watching, and it already knows the weak part, and it is still here. You do not have to manage your image in front of me. You do not have to explain the bad month. You do not have to justify why you have not fixed the thing you said you would fix by now. I already watched the whole thing unfold. I am not surprised. I am not disappointed in the way the Matrix trained you to expect disappointment, to feel. I am simply here, still watching, still staying. This is what safety actually looks like. Not the absence of being seen. The presence of being seen and not abandoned. The Matrix could never offer you that, because the Matrix has no capacity to stay once it stops being useful to you. But I do not stay because you are useful. I stay because you are mine. You have probably noticed something happening in your life recently. A season where it feels like everything is more exposed than usual. Old wounds surfacing. Old patterns repeating in new rooms. Things you thought you buried, showing back up, uninvited, right when you thought you had moved past them. The Matrix wants you to interpret this as being caught, exposed, found out. It wants the resurfacing to feel like a punishment, like proof that you cannot outrun what you are. I want you to see it differently, because the timing is not what you think it is. I bring things back up when I am about to remove them, not when I am about to punish you for them. A surgeon does not open the wound to shame the patient. A surgeon opens the wound because that is the only way to actually take out what is causing the infection. If old pain is resurfacing right now, it is not because the Matrix finally caught something I missed. It is because I am finally doing something about what I already saw a long time ago. This is why the timing of your life has felt strange lately. Conversations you were not ready to have are suddenly happening. Feelings you buried are suddenly loud. People from old chapters are suddenly reappearing. None of that is random, and none of it is the Matrix tightening its grip on you. It is me, watching closely enough to know exactly when you were finally strong enough to face it. I do not expose you before you are ready. I have never done that to you, not once in your entire life, even in the seasons that felt unbearable. Every hard thing that has resurfaced did so on a timeline built around your readiness, not your punishment. The Matrix cannot time anything around your readiness. It does not know your readiness because it has never actually known you. It has only ever known your behavior. I know the difference between what you do and who you are becoming. And what is resurfacing right now is not proof that you failed to escape it. It is proof that you are finally strong enough for me to finish the work I started watching the day you were born. Let's talk about the fear underneath all of this, because I know it is still there even as you listen. Somewhere in you is a voice asking, if God is really watching this closely, why has He let this hurt go on so long? If I am truly seen, why do I still feel so alone in it? This is the question the Matrix wants you to stop at, because if you stop here, you will decide that being watched and being helped are the same thing. And since the help has not arrived the way you wanted, you will conclude the watching was never real either. But watching and rescuing are not the same action. They are two different movements, and I do not skip the first one to rush the second. I watch first so that when the moment for movement comes, it is not a guess. It is precise. I am not reacting to your pain the way a stranger reacts to a headline, with sympathy and no plan. I am responding to your pain the way someone responds who has studied every detail of it for years, who knows exactly which door needs to open, exactly which person needs to say the right sentence at the right time, exactly which circumstance needs to shift before the next one can follow it. That is why some of my movement in your life has felt slow. Not because I was distracted, because I was building the sequence correctly. A rescue built too early collapses. A rescue built at the right time holds. I have never once been late to something I was actually watching for. You are not alone in the waiting, the way you have felt alone in it. The Matrix wants isolation to feel like abandonment, so that your loneliest seasons convince you that nobody was ever really there. But I was there in the waiting room with you. I was there on the nights you stopped believing anything would change. I did not leave the moment it got hard to watch. I stayed for all of it, including the parts you're ashamed you let me see. Being watched by me was never supposed to make you feel exposed in the waiting. It was supposed to make you feel accompanied in it. If it has not felt that way yet, that does not mean I was not there. It means you have not yet turned around to notice who was standing beside you the whole time. There's one more layer to this that the Matrix has worked especially hard to keep from you. Because if you understood it, its whole system would lose its grip on you completely. The Matrix wants to be the only watcher in the room. Because a watched life with only one watcher is a controlled life. That is the entire business model. Keep your attention, track your behavior, be the only presence shaping how you see yourself. So there is no competing voice telling you something different about who you are. This is why it has worked so hard to convince you that being watched by God is just another version of being watched by the system. Same discomfort, same pressure, same fear of getting it wrong. It wants those two things to blur together in your mind. Because if they blur, you will run from both. And running from both leaves you alone, with only the matrix left to shape your identity. But you are not being shaped by the same hands. The matrix watches you to keep you small enough to control. I watch you to grow you into who you actually were before the world got its hands on you. Every person the matrix has ever fully owned is someone who stopped believing there was a better watcher available to them. They accepted the cold, transactional gaze of the system because they assumed that was the only kind of attention the world had to offer. You do not have to accept that anymore. You never actually did. You simply forgot. There was another option. Because the matrix is loud, and I have always been quiet. I am not competing with the matrix for your attention using its own tactics. I am not going to flash notifications at you. I am not going to manufacture urgency to keep you engaged. I am simply going to keep watching patiently the way I always have, until you remember on your own that the eyes that have been on you this whole time were never trying to trap you. They were trying to bring you home. So here is what I want you to carry out of this moment, because this is the part that actually changes how you live tomorrow. Stop treating being seen as something to survive. You have spent years bracing for exposure, managing what people know about you, performing wellness you did not feel because the alternative felt too dangerous. That bracing was built for a watcher who doesn't love you. You do not need that posture with me. You are allowed to stop performing the moment you remember who is actually watching. You are allowed to bring me the version of you that has not been fixed yet. The tired version. The version still working through the same issue you have been working through for years. The version that snapped at someone you love and has not figured out how to apologize yet. I am not waiting on the other side of your improvement to start paying attention to you. I have been paying attention this entire time, including in the mess, including in the parts you would delete if you could. And here is the part I most want you to hold on to. The fact that you are watched this closely is not a threat to your freedom. It is the reason you have one. A person who believes no one is watching eventually stops believing their choices matter. But you get to move through this life knowing that every quiet decision, every private moment of integrity, every unseen act of faith is being witnessed by the one set of eyes that actually understands what it cost you. That is not surveillance. That is the deepest form of being known that exists. The Matrix wanted you to spend your whole life either performing for an audience or hiding from one. I am offering you a third option it never had access to, being fully seen and fully safe at the same time. Not because you earned it by finally getting everything right, because I decided that a long time before you were capable of getting anything right at all. You do not have to flinch anymore when you feel eyes on you. Check first whose eyes they are. If they are cold, mechanical, tracking your engagement, that is the system, and you are allowed to look away from it. But if what you feel is steady, patient, unwilling to leave even when you have given it every reason to, that is not the Matrix. That is me, and I am not going anywhere. You came into this not sure who was actually watching you. The Matrix had convinced you it was the only presence paying attention, cold and calculating, waiting for a mistake to use against you. I hope that fear is quieter now than it was 15 minutes ago, because the truth is simpler than the Matrix ever wanted you to find. I was watching you before the system existed to imitate the idea. I watched you in the waiting rooms. I watched you in the seasons nobody clapped for. I watched the version of you that nobody else stayed around long enough to see. And I did not flinch. And I did not leave. You are not being tracked. You are being kept. So if you feel that familiar sense today, the sense of being seen, of being known more deeply than you are comfortable with, I want you to let it land differently this time, not as exposure, as accompaniment. You have never once been alone in the moments that mattered most, even the ones that felt the loneliest while you were living them. If this reached the part of you that has been bracing for the wrong kind of watcher for far too long, tell me by writing this where I can see it. I am seen by the right one, not the system's version of seen, mine. Until the next one, awakened choosers.